What's going on, ladies and fellas and ladies? Today, talking about some breaking news. Just kidding, it's not actually breaking news at all. This has been going on, or now been going on. This is from last month. Today, in our comments section, we'll be talking about the YouTube Cold War. Man, I really like that pun. Today, I want to talk about the H3H3 versus Keemstar drama. In this, I'd like to hit on some points of, I will say this to begin with. Viewer discretion is advised. I do talk about a lot of very bad and touchy things for a lot of people, including sexual assault, rape allegations, assault, everything that encompasses this video. And I'm going to try and keep this as clean as possible, but some profanity may be leaked out. So, without further ado, let's get into this. If you don't know, the drama between H3H3 and Keemstar starts like this. Ethan Klein, a member of the H3H3 channel and the H3H3 podcast, was, I'd say, a pillar in the foundation of YouTube commentary from back in the day to today, working with a lot of very controversial iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, anything for views, Max Mofo, you name it, he's done it. Other than that, he has grown very largely in not just the YouTube scene, but in the podcast scene, becoming very widely successful and just being a pretty good creator all around. Now we get to Keemstar. Keemstar is a creator of the Drama Alert channel, where he reports on the news of the social medias and YouTube in general. Now, the reason I put news in air quotes is because, between me and you, it's a drama channel. It's not news at all. Something I'm surprised that I forgot to mention was that Keemstar has also worked with some controversial YouTubers on a clothing brand called Axis of Evil. Of course, the clothing brand is led by Leafy, Rice Gum, and Keemstar, three not-so-savory YouTubers. Back to you. I think you can clearly tell right now, I'm not going to keep this unbiased. This problem in general isn't unbiased, because as long as man's been alive, there's no such thing as the truth, and the only thing you really have is someone's word against another, and there's no say in whose word is correct. But there is talking points that I will be discussing today, including a lot of different allegations that Keemstar has thrown out there. So, just off the bat, I would say this is biased, not toward Ethan and not toward Keemstar, but I just dislike Keem, and I'm not a huge fan of Ethan. But I think this drama in general, and watching all 5 videos that they have collectively put out, kind of is just, it seems like childish finger pointing between two adults who can really settle this in any other way besides, well, you did this bad thing. Well, instead of apologizing for it, you did this bad thing. Well, instead of apologizing, well, you did this bad thing. It didn't seem to be resolved at all, and hopefully someday it will be. So, to begin, I would definitely say, if you please take my opinion with a grain of salt. It is an opinion. This is not fact-based. But I would definitely recommend watching all 5 videos. I am going to put a playlist in the description with all of them. I am also, at the beginning of that playlist, going to put iDubbbz Content Cop, which gives a very good backstory on a lot of the controversial things Keemstar did in the past. Now, without further ado, let's get right into this comment section. Leading on the whole Keemstar's news, Keemstar, of course, leads the channel of Drama Alert, where he reports on what he calls news, and it's mostly just, oh, this YouTuber did one thing, this YouTuber did another thing, oh my god. And he uses facts, and he portrays this idea of always using these certain facts that, Keemstar's never wrong, right? Right? Of course he's wrong. We're talking about that later in the video. But H3H3's first video of Content Nuke, playing all of these different points of things, not even, this is after iDubbbz Content Cop type stuff. iDubbbz Content, he even says this.
Now, after Content Cop, there was a period in time when Keemstar was laying low and being a good boy, and everyone thought, wow, this guy's really changed. Yeah, he has changed for the worse. The much, much worse.
But Keem's facts lead to a lot of hurt for a lot of different people, instead of really reaching out and doing a lot of things and asking people, even though he'll get interviews with a lot of other controversial people, instead of trying to get the entire story. In a news story, he leans onto this idea, or like he goes full-fledged into it, of making either this person look bad and this person look good, or just whatever he feels content with putting out there in the YouTube atmosphere and on Twitter. Very avid Twitter user. He puts this out here in his channel of just whatever he says is fact, and there is nothing to refute him. But of course, a lot of people have. And with the statement of a lot of people refuting his data and all of his numbers, apologizing would be the correct thing, right? Right? So another problem that Keemstar has, that H3H3 brings up, is doxing two people. And these leaks and doxing of phone numbers and addresses, it leads to this thing called swatting. And swatting is when you report a violent crime on a certain address of a person that you want to basically get a SWAT team on their building, which this has happened to Keemstar in the past. And that's where we get into Smile for Views and Destiny. Smile for Views in H3H3's video painted as a victim, a man who was doxxed by Keemstar and all of his friends and then gets swatted. He has a wife, he has kids, his phone number, his wife's phone number, their address, all get leaked by Keemstar and his moderators.
Here's Keemstar doxing a YouTuber known as Smiles for YouTube on his live stream.
His Skype is literally Smile for YouTube. Keep note of all this. That's his Skype right there.
Giving out my house address, giving out all of my information. Because
this is his phone number. The guy's from Canada. This is his wife's phone number right here. This is his wife's phone number right here.
And I can totally see how that guy's wife's phone number is newsworthy and why he needs to release that publicly.
We need this dude's address. We need to drop his address.
swatted so fast.
You can hear someone on the stream saying,
swatted so fast.
He's fully aware of the consequence of saying this.
We need this dude's address. We need to drop his address. People need to know where this dude lives.
Now I'm gonna get swatted. Look at them all there. They're fucking everywhere. These cops are everywhere. Thank you. I wonder who did this one. I'm sorry, I am recording for this situation because it happens a lot.
I know, yeah,
so,
we know, we got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I called you guys. I'm like, listen, it's fake, it's not true.
Keemstar is shocked that people think he's responsible. Of course, he never called the police himself. That would be illegal. He just gleefully put the information on his stream, daring any of his followers to do it for him.
Like, now I'm being accused of swatting people. All right? I can't even believe that this is a thing, and I cannot believe that people actually believe it.
His Skype is literally Smile for YouTube.
People actually believe it.
And that would seem, if you're just watching H3H3's video, like a terrible thing, right? There's no reason to do something like that. That's ridiculous. But then Keem puts a different thing on. Keem describes this story that is backed up by other YouTubers as well. Smile for Views is not a victim, he is a perpetrator. Smile for Views had been swatting not just Keem's moderators, and Keem has a family as well. Keem's moderators, a YouTuber called Basher, which we'll come to later, and a multitude of other YouTubers in this atmosphere, having their addresses, doxing them, swatting them. You get the point.
H3's video, he had a big section about the doxing. The first person he accused me of doxing was Smile for YouTube, a serial stalker, a guy who would harass multiple YouTubers, who swatted me, swatted my family, swatted my moderators on stream. There is so much evidence of the wrongdoing that this individual did. I mean, just here's some clips from some other YouTubers. Kava.
But again, Ethan leaves out some incredibly important information just to make Keem seem like he was attacking this poor, innocent father who had kids in his house.
This is a man that's willing to endanger children over a petty internet beef.
And in reality, Smile for YouTube, the man Keem did dox, was the biggest scumbag in the community who harassed, doxed, swatted other YouTubers constantly, including Keem. And I know Ethan fans are gonna say, yeah, he mentioned it. He said that little comment.
Keemstar claims that Smile for YouTube swatted him first. And even if that's true, does it really justify leaking his wife's phone number?
You mean this tiny throwaway comment that no one picked up on or no one even cared about? That does not excuse Ethan leaving out all this information at all. In DMs to Basher, you can see him and Keem talking about Smile for YouTube. Basher says, "Good interview. Smile has been doxing us, swatting my mother multiple times, trying to trick us into large sums of money so he can charge back and screw us, and so much more for months and months." On top of that, in a live stream from 2016, Keemstar explains everything to do with Smile for YouTube and everything he's been going through.
Swatting video has proof of your doxing. Of course we tried to fucking dox Smile for YouTube. Smile for YouTube was harassing me on a daily basis. Who remembers Smile for YouTube spamming the chat with my personal information? Those that remember this and witnessed it, type a 1 in the chat. Who remembers Smile for YouTube sending me 40 fucking donations a day here on Stream Me over and over again just to charge them back? Type a 0 in the chat. Who remembers Smile for YouTube DDoSing my stream over and over again for months on end? Type a D in the chat. Members during this whole time period, which was roughly about 4 or 5 months ago, all right, I mean, it lasted for a whole year, being swatted over and over again on my stream. Although, actually, I can't even say that because nobody on my stream would even know that I was swatted, because when I do get swatted, I get up, I leave, I answer the door, talk to the cop, and I don't want to give anyone the satisfaction of being swatted. So no one in the stream could possibly even know this.
That is from 2016, and it completely adds up. Here are some of Smile for YouTube's old tweets. Hashtag offline again, Keem. Someone is getting a new door in the AM. There are many more screenshots of Smile for YouTube's old tweets out there and leaked. But yes, let's make Keem out to be the criminal, the one who didn't actually even swat.
And now one of YouTube's historians, Gamer from Mars. Roll it.
He had turned on both Basher and Keem shortly after the now infamous interview. He began swatting Keem and his mods frequently, although he later tried to claim that Keem was in fact the one swatting him. As for Basher, Smile was reportedly trying to extort him out of $10,000, and if he didn't pay up, Smile threatened to murder him by sending a SWAT team to his house. Later he found Basher's mother's address and sent a SWAT team to her house on 4 occasions.
So why exactly was there a clip of me on stream sitting here trying to find this information? To report the criminal to the police, which we did. Me and my moderators were being harassed by this individual for months. I mean, this guy put my family in danger. And part of the attempt to harass me even more is, I don't know if he swatted himself or, I mean, this guy was in feuds with all these people on the internet. Somebody swatted him and he filmed it and blamed it on me.
And then Keem, you know, the knight in shining armor, saves the day by doxing him so that he gets swatted, which, like, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's somewhat ridiculous. I mean, first of all, Small for Views swatting multiple people, that's ridiculous. There is no excuse for that. But then Keem going and doing the same thing doesn't prove, or technically, he was not proved to be the swatter, but he led to the swatting of Smile Reviews. There's no really acceptable point here where they're both in the go, they're in the green. They're both in the wrong in this situation. Smile Reviews very heavily in the wrong. Keem not as much in the wrong, but still in the wrong. And then that leads into another YouTuber, Destiny, that H3H3 paints as this victim who is doxxed by Keemstar. And it's horrible. Keemstar calls him a pedophile and makes all of these allegations, which Keemstar did.
Just Destiny is a YouTuber who made the very regrettable decision of using underage girls in his thumbnails. Keemstar took that and ran with it, insinuating that he is a pedophile, with zero evidence.
Do you touch kids?
Oh my god. Really?
But do you? Do you touch kids?
After losing 3,000 subscribers for this interview, Keemstar declares war on Just Destiny.
Dude, I got so much shit for that. Dude, I lost almost 3,000 subscribers. I'm going to war with this motherfucker.
Out of pure spite, Keemstar releases all of his public information on the internet. Here he is admitting to doxing him.
I doxed him. What are you going to do about it? I'm literally telling you right now, what do you think's going to happen to me? You said to Augie, this is going to be a big story that Keemstar doxed Destiny. I doxed Destiny. Where is the big story? Yeah, I dox people all the time. I run a news show. Like, it's literally part of the job.
He brags about doxing many people because he runs a news show. Now, I don't know what kind of news show Keemstar's running, but I don't remember the last time Anderson Cooper had to find out someone's mom's phone number and post it online.
I need to know who
so
people
gathering
are.
people's
I need to know
personal information
where they live.
isn't
I need to
doxing.
know where. I'm sorry, bitch, but I'm talking and you're talking when I talk. Shut up.
Keemstar did dox and call Destiny a pedophile, but Keem tells the full story of it. Destiny, again, not a victim, but a perpetrator. A younger YouTuber, to which I do not know the name of, made a video called Destiny is a nonce. Nonce is a, British slang, for bad stuff. And Destiny didn't really like this. He didn't like this at all. So he decides to falsely copyright strike this kid's video. Which you'd think, oh, yeah, to get it out of there, because Destiny doesn't want that type of stuff, popping up for his viewers. But also there's an ulterior motive. Destiny wanted to talk to the kid's parents. And the only way that it could really do that is when you copyright strike someone, the kid, if he wants to dispute it, then has to send his real name and email to Destiny, to which Destiny uses that information to dox the kid and try to talk to his parents directly.
Next up, Just Destiny. Just Destiny was a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers, and well, he got very, very angry because a 15-year-old boy over in the UK uploaded a video calling him a nunce. Now, I don't know if everyone here understands, but from the UK point of view, calling someone a nunce is a pretty common insult. But anyhow, Just Destiny got so angry that he wanted to talk to the kid's parents. So the first thing he did is file a false copyright strike on the kid. But he didn't just do that to take the video down. He had an alternative motive. He doxed the kid by filing that false copyright strike because the kid, in order to counter, had to give Just Destiny his real name and his email. And once Just Destiny got his name and email, he tried to go after his parents and tried to find his parents. But even worse, he sent a cease and desist letter to the 15-year-old, a legal threatening letter signed Just Destiny. And when I interviewed Just Destiny on Dromler, he took no responsibility. He just played the victim. And the harassment was not going to stop. So me and some YouTubers got together and searched to find out who this mystery Just Destiny guy was, and we found him. That's right. We found his Google Plus account that Just Destiny himself publicly put his own picture and his own name on. Again, this is something that Just Destiny put on the internet himself. Now, if you watch the H3H3 video, you would kind of get the idea Because H3H3 says I posted it, that I posted this Google Plus account.
Keemstar releases all of his public information on the internet.
Because H3H3 says I posted it, that I posted this Google Plus account.
You said to Augie this is going to be a big story that Keemstar doxed Destiny. I doxed Destiny. Where is the big story?
That I posted this Google Plus account to the world, to the internet. Guess what? I posted it nowhere. And to this day, if you search for Just Destiny's real name, you can't find it. It doesn't come up in a Google search because the only person I gave that Google Plus account was to the 15-year-old kid he was harassing. And once he had that Google Plus account, the harassment stopped and Just Destiny uploaded a full apology to the kid and, well, played the victim and said I doxed him.
Of course, Keem again, the White Knight in shining armor, coming and saving the day. Him and a couple of his friends somehow find Destiny's private Google Plus account with his real name and his face, and then go out and give it to the kid because, well, that's the right thing to do, you know? And then it stopped. The harassment stopped from Destiny. But again, that seems, again, more in the right than the wrong. Keemstar is still in the wrong because now all of these people know this about Destiny, and Keem, whenever he wants to, let's say Destiny does some wrong thing, just puts it out there. But that still doesn't excuse the fact that Keem, for no reason, said, "Do you touch kids?" while interviewing Destiny.
Do you touch kids?
Oh my god. Really?
But do you? Do you touch kids?
There was no evidence of Destiny even doing such a thing. So why mention it? Because it gets views. And this kind of leads into Keemstar's lack of empathy. Now, Keemstar doesn't really seem to be this guy who has, like, oh, I feel bad for this person, until it helps him. Because Keemstar has, in the past and as of recent years, just painted this picture of such bad outlooks of mental health and how mental health is ridiculous and it makes you look weak. H3H3 points this out in his 45-minute first video of how it makes you look weak and it's a bad thing. Like, go on a run, because then you won't be depressed. Great. Thanks for putting that out there, Keemstar.
On mental illness in general.
We don't believe in depression in this household. We believe if you're sad, work harder. If you claim that you have mental health issues, people automatically support you. They automatically feel bad for you. They automatically give you attention. Do you get it? That a lot of this is bullshit. That depression and mental health issues is the biggest shield in the fucking world.
FYI, everybody gets depressed, but only the weak let it define them. And you are weak. If you want to be left alone, here's a block. Drug companies invent all of these mental illnesses so they could sell drugs to morons. Social anxiety is 100% a fake invented illness, so they can sell you drugs and make millions. Stop being weak. Society is literally going to die if you keep this bullshit up. Real talk. If you suffer from panic attacks and you're old enough to drink, the best way to stop a panic attack, real quick, is to have a sip of beer. You only need like 3 sips. Brought to you by Dr. Daniel Keemstar. Sponsored by G Fuel.
But Keemstar doesn't hit on this point. There's something that you'll definitely see in Keemstar's videos where instead of focusing on all of the points, which he says he was going to make a video about, I didn't find it. So unless he was a liar, he never made it. So he likes to hit on a lot of the points that are huge points, or not even huge points, just points that he knows he can rebuttal, like Smile for Views, Destiny, and a man we will be talking about later, Etika. So Keem's lack of empathy leads to him leaning on facts and the notes that lead him to calling people very bad things. Now we lead into a very short segment of people Keemstar has been wrong about. Let's go to that. People Keemstar has accused of rape, abuse, and or other Basher for being a child predator.
Basher was arrested for apparently trying to have sex with a child. He's literally manipulated these many children into thinking that he's a poor little boy instead of a monster.
Keemstar just keeps freaking. It's just constant barrage. I raped absolutely no one. I am not a fucking pedophile.
Like, I feel like this dude is gonna try to kill himself so I get in trouble. That isn't a person that's been bullied. That isn't a person that's been pushed too far. That's a crazy person.
We can now confirm that the ages were 18 and 15.
Everything we reported on Bashverse is 100% true.
18 and 15.
We're not wrong. Drumler's not wrong.
18 and 15. It's possible that he was 20 and he was 13.
This is 100% true.
I don't understand why I'm still getting hate.
Tobuscus for beating and raping his wife.
Now today we have a crazy story all surrounding the YouTuber known as Toby Turner, accusing Toby Turner, Tobuscus, about rape, abuse, drugs, and pretty much everything terrible. I'm being told that there's a lot of juicy details in there. I haven't heard it myself. This is the first time I'm going to be hearing the post.
He would grab me and tear my pants off, and I would say no and pull them back up, so forcefully that they would tear. I still have my pants folded in the drawer that have ripped belt loops and holes in the crotch from him trying to tear his way in.
Keemstar should add a disclaimer that these were simply allegations, going something along the lines of innocent until proven guilty. Literally 20 minutes after Keemstar's video went public, all of Toby's channels were flooded with hateful comments and dislikes of people who thought he was genuinely a rapist.
Damn it, Toby, another one got away. You should have drugged her. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think he's a horrible person.
I don't understand why I'm still getting hate.
Jesse Smiles was not actually accused of being a rapist, but he said that he was on the side of, if you didn't know this, Curtis Lepore, former Vine star and probably Instagram comedian extraordinaire, sexually assaulted and abused this woman named Jesse Smiles. Not that many people know about that, so I'm glad to teach you something new.
Jessie Smiles many years ago came out and said that her ex-boyfriend raped her. I had doubt. It's like literally her ex-boyfriend. Like, I had doubt.
The Jessie Smiles and Curtis story is so hard to believe because they were both boyfriend and girlfriend. Everyone in this industry tells me what a fucking liar you are. So again, sorry I don't believe that your boyfriend raped you.
Did you not have anybody else to treat like shit today? So you just decided to do it to a rape victim. Okay, got it.
I met Curtis, like, in person. So much bad vibes. Like, you know that gut feeling where you're like, this is not a good person? I now think you're guilty based on the hardcore facts of a gut feeling.
Why am I still getting hate?
And then we get into our final person, RS Gold, also known as Tony. So, RS Gold, who I'll be referencing as Tony for this video, was a RuneScape streamer. And he, was on the lower account of subs and views, and he just played RuneScape. That's all he did. He was an older man. H3H3, in his first video, makes a point to put RS Gold in his video, because Keemstar wrongly accuses him of being a child predator. And what was Keemstar's facts and figures for that? A gut feeling about a photo and how he looked the same as the actual perpetrator, who married a 13-year-old in RuneScape and then raped her. Keemstar decides to look at that picture, get this gut feeling, which he says he never does, and put out this story ruining RS Gold's life for a very long time, and then 2 hours later taking down that video and putting up a new video apologizing, which seems like a decent thing to do, right? After putting out this story that, even though you apologized, is ruining this man's life. He is the only person that I would say, from looking at both of their videos, because Keemstar didn't like to hit on a lot of points of H3H3's videos, he was the only person that he apologized about, and who put himself out there trying to help Tony. And he was asking Tony, how much money do you want? What do you want? Do you want RuneScape con tickets or whatever? And Tony said, no, I just want to be your friend. From Keem's account, Tony just asking Keem, hey, I just want to be friends. Well, this leads into Tony's manager, and Keem all playing RuneScape together and doing multitudes of things together, until eventually they just slowly stop talking, and things just don't really pan out for Tony.
This video that Ethan Klein uploaded, the very first story he touches on is something that happened 5 years ago, when Dromler got a story wrong, accusing an innocent man of being a pedophile. He went through that story real fast and left out a ton of details. And I'm going to provide you full context of this story, but before I do that, first, let's talk about Ethan Klein himself and his own false pedophile allegations. Like, I don't know, remember the time when he accused 1.2 billion people of being pedophiles? Roll it.
What exactly does the Catholic Church do except rape kids?
So while looking for clips for this video, I'm currently editing it right now, I clearly kind of glided over one clip, and I didn't put it in my notes for this video, of Keemstar talking about how Ethan accused 1.2 billion people of being pedophiles by making the usual, oh, what does the Catholic Church do besides, touch kids? And Keem just went with that and was like, he accused 1.2 billion people of being pedophiles. Oh, you dirty man. Also, it seems like Keemstar kind of also, when it comes to his facts that I talked about in this video, glossed over the very large fact that it is proven that a lot of Catholic priests have touched little boys. So you can take that one to the bank.
Let's talk about this individual, Glory and Gold. Yes, we got a story wrong 5 years ago, but as soon as I found out that story was wrong, about 2 hours after it was uploaded, I completely took full responsibility. I exposed myself for getting the story wrong, uploading a video to Twitter explaining that we got this story wrong. I deleted the original video and I uploaded a completely new video that's still here right now on Dromler, explaining what happened and explaining that this individual was completely innocent due to our fault. I personally reached out to Glory and Gold to make amends, to make peace, to do whatever he wanted me to do because I felt so horrible about what this show has done to him. And he wouldn't accept my money. He wouldn't accept a trip to RuneFest. I was trying to do whatever I could to pay for what I did wrong to him. But Glory and Gold said to me all he wanted to do was be my friend. So that's what I tried to do. I shouted out his stream. I played RuneScape with him. I got on phone calls with him. I was just struggling to do whatever I could to make amends for what took place. And Tony himself came out and said that he forgave me. Roll it.
But I want to tell my stream I'm talking to Keemstar. Every time I've ever talked to him, he's been a perfect gentleman, been really, really accommodating to me, been really, really nice to me. So seriously, since we talked the very first day, since some bullshit happened, when me and you talked the very first day, you were really nice to me. And like I said, I've always gotten the impression you're a nice guy. And I know that if you don't want to be nice, you can be not nice, okay? But you've been nice to me, you know what I mean? And so why do I give a shit about anything else? You know, in life, you got to worry about how people treat you, not what everybody else's problems are. You know what I mean? Honestly and truly, I had some pretty big YouTubers wanted me to talk and want me to say this shit and that shit. And I told them, I'm not going to do that because you're asking me to lie, okay? You've been nothing but nice to me. You know, what happened over a year ago, who gives a shit? I mean, that's really the truth. And nobody should be mad at you because I'm not mad at you. Does that make sense? I have no problem telling the world that. If I made a bad mistake and it messed with you, I'd want you to get past it and I'd want you to forgive me.
But not only did Tony just forgive me for what took place, he was grateful that it happened because it resulted in him getting thousands and thousands and thousands of fans because of this happening.
But the truth is, though, when Keemstar's the best thing that's happened to our show. That's the truth. Okay?
Yep, that's pretty much the truth. But if we could look at that again, notice the gentleman with the hat. Do you see that guy? That's Tony's old manager. And that is the guy who I communicated with throughout this whole process, throughout these 5 years, to directly speak to Tony, because it was his manager. And when his manager seen how Ethan Klein covered this story, well, he had this to say. Roll it.
No, Ethan, before you make a video about situations like this, please find out the backstory. He was very open, trying to talk to us and talking to Tony, and he was made a video 30 minutes late that he was going to make a video to promote the stream, all kinds of good stuff like that. I mean, he was really trying to make amends for what he did. The other thing is, we actually had a RuneScape account that was already set up for him to play, and we had a night where we had him actually play RuneScape. I mean, Keemstar playing RuneScape.
Wow, that is Tony's manager. That is Tony's manager saying that Ethan Klein got the story wrong. Wow. Now, I'm sure you've seen in Ethan's videos clips of me.
And then in 2017, Tony gets caught up in this catfishing scandal, which Keem likes to hit about. In 2020.
Now, I'm sure you've seen in Ethan's videos clips of me years later tweeting some nasty stuff at Tony, telling him that, like, I was done with him and telling him to just fuck off. There's a reason for that. Because Tony, after the wave went down of support, when his viewers got low, he started making accusations against me that I was sending hate to him.
There was times whenever, in September, that you raided him, and Tony said that you didn't raid him, and that's whenever communication really broke down. Yeah.
Which just simply wasn't true. In fact, Tony reached out to Scarce and tried to get Scarce to run a whole story on me that I was sending hate at him multiple years later, where Scarce just refused to run the story. Scarce got in contact with me and thought that Tony might be losing his mind. But years later, why were people suddenly starting to troll Tony or Glory and Gold? Well, because every streamer has trolls. But actually, there's something else that Tony doesn't want you to know about. He was involved in his own scandal. Listen to Tony's manager. Roll it.
Now, I will say there was other events that happened in many of these years that were other situations that Tony has been involved in, like catfishing issues and other accusations against Tony that were, again, other fuel to the fire for people to attack Tony. And that's where, I mean, there's if you're going to cover one thing that's that was an attack on Tony, you might as well cover everything else that was an attack on Tony. You're reporting one thing and not everything else.
Yikes! Now listen, I'm not going to tell anybody the catfish story. Tony, that is for you to tell.
Keemstar says it's Tony's story to tell, but he can't help himself. People are not taking the bait, and so he pushes it further on Twitter. Please, RS Glory and Gold, come clean on the catfish story. Stop blaming me for the hate you've gotten over the last few years. And what he retweeted is apparently proof that RS Glory and Gold is a pedophile. Now let's examine these claims.
RS Glory and Gold, Tony, you should be disgusted with yourself. You thought those kisses were for Rebecca Hart, a girl who's told you she's 16. She's underage, but you've happily asked for pictures. You've offered to meet up with her. You even said, I'd give $1,000 if I could hold and kiss you right now. She's a child, you fucking pedo. This didn't happen just recently. This has been going on for 1 whole year.
The first horrifying admission is that they have been pretending to be dating Tony for a year. How sick do you have to be to screw with an old man for over a year and lead him on?
I shouldn't really be laughing at some of this. He says here, my last girlfriend was 8 years ago. My only wife died in 1979. So if he wants to accuse maybe a hacking or something, I mean, this went on for a year. There is no doubt this is Tony.
Tony has been pouring his heart out to someone he thought was emotionally invested in him. Here's a screenshot of her saying, I'm 16, nearly 17. Many people point out that there's no verification checkmark next to his name, which indicates that the screenshot may be fake. But I'll just let Tony explain for himself.
My name's Tony Winchester. I'm RS Glory and Gold. I'm making this video. It's called Rebecca Hearts. Okay? Rebecca Hearts. Some guy, some scumbag has made a video and saying that Rebecca Hearts is 16 years old and that I'm pursuing her and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I'm making this video to set the record straight. Okay, I met Rebecca Hearts in late January of 2016. She said because of all the internet bullshit, she felt sorry for me and wanted to reach out to me.
The internet bullshit she's referring to is, of course, this.
We reported a story that this Massachusetts man, John Phillips, had sex with a teen that he married in an online game in RudeScape. Now, the problem with this is that that's not John.
What was Tony's reward for being falsely accused of being a pedophile? Being catfished for over a year in an attempt to frame him as a, get this, pedophile.
As long as you don't mind my age, 25, I don't mind your age. See, so right there, the girl says, as long as you don't mind my age, 25, I don't mind your age.
Something that Keem and H3 do in both of their videos, and what they don't realize, instead of apologizing about, and both being hypocrites, because that's something that's true. Both Keem, which it was clear that he's being a hypocrite, and H3H3, which Keem says he's being a hypocrite, and it is somewhat clear, they don't apologize. Keem doesn't apologize for any of the other points H3 hits on, and H3 doesn't apologize for some of the things he's done. Tony gets into this catfishing scandal where he is catfished by a man making YouTube's videos about him being an actual child predator. And of course, Tony explaining this entire thing, you would think that's where it ends. No. 3 years later in 2020, Keemstar, trying to do what he does best and push the blame on someone else, brings up this, saying, oh, Tony, you better explain this story, because I don't have to tell it. I'm just giving you a path to tell it. Then let him tell it, which he already has, Keem. Why would you talk about this if you're just like, this is your story? Then let him tell it in his own time, which he has 3 years before you're even mentioning it. Because you report the news, right? You have to prove who's the big bad guy and who's the good guy, right, Keem? You knew that you could not push this story in 2017 when it was prevalent because it's already proven that R.S. Golden wasn't. He was catfished. But Keem doesn't want to hit on that. And now, I just want to start this next segment off of Etika by saying, rest in peace, none of this will be attacking Etika, because he, in this whole ordeal, really did nothing wrong. But, of course, H3H3 makes this a point in his video to talk about Etika and how Keem kind of created this toxic environment for him. Because Etika, if you did not know, was in a mental hospital, and he was going through a lot of manic depression and a lot of manic states. And it was not a very good thing for Etika to be going through. And sadly, he killed himself, which you never really want to talk about or see, but it happens, especially when it's a YouTube creator. So H3H3 talks about Etika and how Keem did this interview with Etika right after Etika is released from a mental hospital, that Keem decides, basically, hey, Etika's at this mental hospital, which Keem tries to explain that it isn't doxing. But what is it, Keem? If you're saying that this person in a manic state is at this location with a lot of fans between you and him, what do you think that's going to do? You think you're helping him?
During a previous manic episode, Keemstar had tweeted out the address, the location of the mental hospital he was being stayed at. You're in a manic state. The last thing you need is being fed more energy and excitement and mania. Doxing someone is bad enough, but a dude in a manic state having a breakdown to dox his mental institute is just... I found myself staring at this tweet in complete disbelief. The day before Keemstar doxed his mental hospital, he tweeted out, "Etika fans are tweeting at me saying I shouldn't be streaming Red Dead at a time like this. He's not my friend. I barely speak to him. I'm worried, but there's nothing I can do. And it's Red Dead too. Sorry, but I'm streaming it no matter what." 3 days later, Keemstar is tagging Etika and putting as much tension on him as possible. Retweet if you want an interview with Etika. And then people start giving him shit in the comments. Leave him alone. Give him some time to rest. Suck a dick. I run a news channel. I'm going to get my viewers the news. I don't give a fuck about your fake social justice warrior emotions on Twitter for attention. This really shows how Keemstar views Etika more as a commodity than a person.
No. Of course, H3H3 doesn't like to show what Keem called the positive tweets, because of course, like I said before, H3H3 is pushing a narrative to show Keem as a bad guy, which isn't really that hard to do. But Keem is also pushing a narrative to make H3H3 a bad guy, but with less talking points and shorter videos, because it's not that easy to do. But Keem, of course, is talking about how Etika was a huge fan, and it does seem that way. That Etika was a huge fan of Keemstar's show, Drama Alert. And H3H3 talking about the Keemstar interview with Etika, Keem talks about how Etika, he was a performer. He was the entertainer. So the entire interview, where it seems like this man, who was in a manic state, is just doing this entire bit for fun about the, why are you afraid of dying? The world is a simulation. It doesn't matter.
It's me, the Antichrist. I've come to purge the planet of all human life. I will be dropping nuclear missiles very, very soon on every single human being. Death means nothing. Why are you all so scared of death for? It means absolutely zero in the interim. Why do you think I made Trump president? We're about to get some fireworks real soon.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Etika is on the line here. Now, Etika, when you say death means nothing, are you basically saying that life is a simulation? Is that what you're getting to?
Yeah, life is a video game. We're all in a video game, and I'm the one that's putting the pieces together. Everything that you've done in your life, Keemstar, was all leading up to this moment, to where you can broadcast the start of the beginning of the rise of the known Antichrist.
Keem pushing this in a toxic environment of, well, it doesn't matter, right? Why don't you just jump off a cliff? Which is a horrible thing to say, especially to a person in a manic state, which H3H3 points out. It seems kind of strange that months after that interview, Etika does jump off of a bridge. But I would just like to read you one of Keem's many points to which, oh, I'm not a bad person, because Etika's mom, for some reason, has my phone number and texts me this. Hello, Keemstar. This is Etika's mother responding to you to address the recent threats and accusations you've received in relation to his death. I wish to inform Etika fans, friends, and viewers that Keemstar is not responsible for Etika's passing and should not be held accountable for my son's actions, which is a true thing to say. Keemstar isn't responsible for his death. He didn't push him off that bridge, but he did create a toxic environment for a person already in a manic state by giving him this platform to show the entire world that he was hurting. Etika loved Keemstar's show and wanted to make his appearance on the program both memorable and exciting. My son's goal was to make this segment as dramatic and entertaining as possible, not to use it as a vehicle of hatred toward the show's host and creator. Which there is a segment where Etika basically just curses out Keemstar and hangs up on him, which I don't know how that doesn't seem hateful in any way.
I never did show you guys the end of that interview with his good friend Etika, with his homie. I recorded an interview with Etika. He started yelling and rage quit. He got mad because I called him out for being weak. Keemstar loves to call people suffering from mental illness weak. But let's go back and see how that interview actually ended with his good friend Etika.
I've been on this platform and I've tried my best to not step on any toes. I've always tried my best to consider other people. I don't want to hurt anybody. I never wanted to. I always shied away from whenever people would make fun of people, and it just felt bad. It's like, why would you tear that person down? Be nice to people. I know I always thought I was weird, because why would I never want to jump to hurting someone? I always just wanted to make content and have fun. And I realize now,
you can crack jokes about people and still have fun. It's not being mean.
Yeah, but you're mean about it. You know, you're mean about it. You're mean about it. Sometimes you're heartless.
Sometimes I am mean about it, but it's still funny.
Yes,
that's still funny. It's still funny. It is funny though.
Look, I do dark humor, and I don't kill people like you do sometimes. You killed that old man by calling him a. I've never done anything.
Get out of here! Get out of here! That's ridiculous.
Listen, shut up.
We
shut
got
up.
a story. I'm
shut
not
up.
going to shut up. I'm not going to shut up. We got a story wrong for about 45 minutes. The video was taken down. I offered the guy 20 grand on the spot.
Shut up! I know the situation.
No,
I watched you. Yeah. And then you apologized. You went on the stream and you told the audience to go and give him love. I did everything I could to make it right with that dude. I'm not shutting up. I'm not shutting it up. You just said something that was so much bullshit. Yeah, but you still called him a pedophile with no information, you motherfucking asshole.
Because I was fed wrong information,
you know that.
Because I was fed wrong information.
Sometimes it sucks looking in the mirror, doesn't it? Doesn't it hurt, Keemstar? It hurts when you feel the same thing that you've done to other people. Doesn't it hurt?
In the mirror 20 minutes after it happened. 20 minutes after it happened.
When did you look into the mirror? Weakling. Record this and put it on Drama Alert at 12 tonight.
I'm recording it right now. Oh my God, what a that job.
Spread love and goodwill instead of passing judgment. What's truly needed is a much better platform supporting mental health awareness throughout the world. Please build up your online community with kindness instead of recklessly breaking each other down. In God we trust you. You will take these blessings we send out to you. And you would have thought, well, Keem, you got messaged that by Etika's mom. So, why don't you run with it? Make it so that your fans aren't all of these balls of angry fire going out and attacking these people. Why don't you promote all of this mental health? Well, it's because you believe that mental health makes people weak, and how if you have depression, you are weak. Anxiety, weak. Go for a run. That's what I did yesterday. But of course, yes, it is true that Keemstar was not responsible for his death, and Ethan wasn't pushing that out, that he was the main sole person that was responsible for his death. Other than that, you'd think, well, after that, Keemstar couldn't have, hurt anyone else, even though he didn't hurt Etika, or it's implied that he created this toxic environment. That would be the only one, right? No. Because other than Etika, a YouTuber named FloozyTube had certain things to say about how Keemstar really ruined his life and made him think about suicide, which isn't a great thing to hear. That, you know, Keemstar, you yourself, yelling directly at you, you made me think of wanting to kill myself. You made me think about this.
I'm just telling you as a man at 28 years old what I feel. You made me want to commit suicide last year. I wanted to kill myself because of all the attention you gave me. I rewatched videos going viral after the attention you're giving me now of you saying Fousy is the biggest piece of shit, egotistical asshole on this earth. I have bipolar and depression. That what you put into my head made me want to kill myself.
Of course he didn't. He is still alive today. But Keemstar, instead of apologizing, goes, well, it's not my thing to make an apology of. Ethan, you made fun of him on an entire podcast. The entire podcast was just making fun of him, Ethan. Of course, then Ethan rebuttals, not just the clip that Keemstar shows where Ethan is calling him saying, oh, I don't know if he's on crack or in a manic state. He then shows a clip of him saying, I hope he gets the best help he can. But of course, this leads to another person who you may not know, called BoogieTune988, who was a very big person in the past for his excessive Mountain Dew drinking and Dorito eating and being, you know, this big guy. And it was funny. He made a lot of funny videos. He tweets out about Keemstar on May 19th of 2020. One more thing on Keemstar. Yes, last summer when I was suicidal, he added me to a chat and tried to help. That's great. That's a great thing to do. But after he realized his advice of just stop being sad didn't work, he quickly got frustrated. He called me weak. He said I faked my mental illness. No love lost. Kind of reminds me of the time where Jake Paul said anxiety is all in the mind. Also, Prince EA said that in his Scam of a School. But that kind of makes you sick, right? Hearing about all this bad stuff that Keemstar did. But, you know, Keem talking about, oh, well, I'm not a bad guy. Because, of course, he didn't mention Boogie. He didn't mention all of these people. But Keem is like, oh, remember, those good tweets. Why didn't you show my good tweets of Etika? Keem, I actually like Etika. I don't think he's evil like Fousy, but he's definitely manic as he always acts like this. Nah, not like this. Which, if you look at it, yeah, he's talking about Etika in a manner of, well, he is in a manic state, and this sucks. And I don't want to see him like that, even though people with mental illness weaken the brain. But if you reread that tweet, and you think of the words that he's typing, I don't think he's evil like Fousy, a person who said that they thought about killing themselves because of Keemstar. He's evil. There's no refuting that, because that's Keemstar's word, right? And the last point that I want to hit on, and a lot of people, what they know about this controversy is, oh, Keem is mad because he lost his G Fuel sponsorship because Ethan did something no other YouTuber's ever done before, and he went after his sponsors. Of course, Ethan makes quick work of this, showing how past Keem did not just go after one person, not two people, but a group of people, going after their sponsors, and again, calling them things and accusing them of things they hadn't done. Calling out every single one of their sponsors name by name. But Ethan kind of does a cop-out answer when it comes to, oh, I wasn't attacking your sponsor. All I was really doing is saying, well, G Fuel is more of a personality as much as his beard is. Because he's wearing that dumb hat and he always has that G Fuel can on his table. It's as much of the Drama Alert brand as he is. which is kind of a cop-out answer. Just go with it. You were right in the first place. Of course, Ethan loses a lot of his sponsors because of going after Keemstar, but Keemstar saying that this is a problem that only Ethan did makes no sense and is objectively a lie, because he did it. Not saying he was the first person to do it, but he did it, even though Ethan does it in a different way of he was just saying G Fuel, because you are as much of a brand as Keem as all of his other stuff. Maybe you should look into him being a very controversial person in general. And that is what I want to end it on, is the idea that, like I said earlier in this video about Keemstar, is that neither of these people were in the right. Ethan, of course, was a controversial person before, less of a controversial person today, pushed a narrative to show Keem as a very evil person. A lot of hypocrisy and such on Ethan Klein's side. But Keemstar, being a controversial person before and continuing to be a controversial person today, bringing up old stories and all of that for no apparent reason, is also a hypocrite and a liar, pushing his own narrative of making Ethan look like a bad guy. So again, take my opinion with a grain of salt, and just in general, I would like you to think of it and watch the videos on yourself to form your own opinion. Thank you again. Catch you in next week's video.